Of the Mindful Moneymakers, where we break down all the tips, tricks, and mindset shifts you need to make if you want to live a life by design instead of by default. Today's guest transforms entrepreneurs from invisible experts into unforgettable characters in their industry story through precision engineered content formulas. With a journey that began back at age 5 on sets of Law and Order, The Chris Rock Show, and Soul Food, and in films like Losing Isaiah and Money Train, Kent learned storytelling from Hollywood's elite. As principal talent in commercials for Sprite, Fujifilm, and Reebok, he gained an insider's view of how the world's best brands capture attention through strategic storytelling. Later, as globally recognized DJ Dark Kent, he built a personal brand strong enough to secure performances across America and in Tokyo, even earning a coveted guest spot on New York's premier radio station, Hot 97, proving his ability to stand out in overcrowded markets. Kent's natural talent for influence was recognized early when a professor at William Patterson University convinced him to compete in a sales competition typically reserved for juniors and seniors. As a freshman, Kent tied for third place, demonstrating his innate understanding of persuasion and audience psychology. This unique background in elite media production, personal brand building, and strategic sales converges in Kent's approach to content strategy, where he combines entertainment industry storytelling techniques with data driven formulas to create content that audiences can't help but consume, share, and act upon. Today, we're visited by King Kent. Let's bring him on. How we doing today, sir?
What's going on, my brother?
Yes, indeed. Feeling good. Feeling good. So good to see you. It's been a long time coming. We met
Definitely.
actually like over a decade ago
Yeah,
at this point, right? As
yeah,
DJ Dark Kent,
exactly.
saying the party rocker.
Facts. I think it's fair to say we met 2 lifetimes ago because
Yeah,
I think we were both two completely different individuals, right? So
that is a fact.
that journey has been beautiful.
And it's beautiful to see how it's coming to like a parallel right
Yeah,
now where we can sit and have high level conversations about the things that we're very passionate about. So I really enjoy and appreciate you spending this time with us today, man.
yeah.
I was able to. I feel like in your introduction we went all over the world, right? But I know that you're such a multi-level layer. What's going on with words today, man? I must be excited, bro.
That's a good thing.
No, for real. So you're a much multi-layered person, right? So I feel
Mhm.
like we've only scratched the surface. So I want to kind of give you a opportunity to introduce yourself, dive in deep. Tell us how you got started, where are you now, and where are we headed?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers to everything that I do, and I think that for me, I have kind of enjoyed that. It's funny, man. I was having a moment the other day on my balcony, kind of just taking in life, looking at the clouds. I realized that so many people just don't just enjoy just outsideness enough.
Hmm.
And I was doing that, and I looked at the cloud and I saw a phoenix, and I was like, man, I've been meaning to get this phoenix tatted on me
Hmm.
because that has been the symbol for my life. That death rebirth situation, right? I again started off as an actor at the age of 5, and then moved on to be a DJ, owned Loft 9, which you've been to multiple times and hung
Right,
out
right.
with us, and we've had some great times in there. And then transition to now being able to help other entrepreneurs build and grow their brands as well as other businesses, right? I work for a lot of different CPG brands and things of that nature, some AI tech startups and whatnot. And so for me, the idea of being able to step into a new life, a new calling, that rebirth, right, is so symbolic, and it really represents my life. But the way in which that I got started with doing what I do now was ironically through loss. I had a friend who he was a well-respected individual, Lionel. I don't know if you know Lionel. So he's from Franklin. He was a well-respected individual. He was an actor. He traveled all around the world, and he used to come to the loft every now and again, and we'd sit down and just chop it up. And he'd talk to me about his acting stuff and blah blah blah. And the last time that we were speaking, he was just like, "Man, like everything that you're putting out into the world." It was during the pandemic, and I was just kind of just telling people, things that they didn't know, how you could get ahead. The fact that even if you did Uber, you could still qualify for unemployment, and just giving as much news and insight to people as possible. And he was like, "Man, the world really wants that from you."
Hmm.
And tragically, he lost his life. And for me, that loss isn't really a loss because I felt like his spirit was still there in that chair in my office. And he was screaming at me louder now in that space of being like, dude, the world really wants this from you. And of course, right, man to man, you could tell me, dude, I know you can go beat LeBron at basketball. And I'm not
Mhm.
going to believe you. It sounds good. I appreciate it. Right.
Mhm.
But then a beautiful black woman can say, I know you could beat LeBron at basketball. And I would be silly enough to lace up my sneaks and right, like, because he put the battery in my back. And so that's kind of what happened, man. It was like the perfect synchronicity of like his voice still being there and telling me, like, yo, the world really wants something from you. Speak on platforms, do this thing. And the black woman saying, I believe in you. I see this from you. I'm turned on by this. And I was like, well, I'm not going to shut up. And
Mhm.
so that's pretty much what landed me here, man. And really just became a student of the game and studying everything and kind of like putting everything that I've lived through
Mhm.
together, and taking all of those experiences and just being like, you know what, I'm really uniquely positioned to do what it is that I do because I have so many different facets of success in my life where I've learned so much that I can give so much to so many people. And so hope that makes sense in terms of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we love it too. It's always amazing to see when someone's glass overfills, right? With
Mm,
experience, with knowledge, with know how, and they decide to go ahead and give it back and show up in the way that you've been showing up. The
yeah.
results, I know, speak for themselves because the content that you create is always so captivating. And
Thank
the story that you tell from the very start, we're hooked, right? All the way through the end. And if you can share how to do that, right, in a world that's increasingly going online, right?
you.
Becoming more technical, more AI driven, uh, to take the trailblazers, right, and give them an actual trail to blaze for the multitudes of people that'll come behind them. I think is phenomenal. Take us through that. Like, how did you? So I mean, we went back. We know where you got started, right,
Hmm.
and we see the natural progression into to where we are now.
Hmm.
But when it comes to starting an online business, that's a little different than being in front of the camera.
Hmm.
How did you make that leap? What shifted for you?
So ironically enough, the loft, oftentimes I feel like people, we don't necessarily know when it's time to graduate, right? Like
Mhm.
you sometimes you have to be forced. At least that was the case for me. The loft, right, was a phenomenal business. It was something that I was running for 7 years, loved it. Um, the owner of the building sold it to someone
Mhm.
else, and the new owner and I couldn't come to an agreement in terms of price. And I had already invested so much money in the building. And I was at a place where I was literally frustrated. And I remember kind of having that self talk of being like, dude, you have the skill set that you don't have to argue with this guy about a building.
Mhm.
And you've promised yourself that you won't build another brick and mortar business until you have the money to own the building.
Mm.
And so that became the mission. And it was like, all right, look, sit back and realize not just where you're uniquely positioned, but what is it that the world wants from you, and double down on that, and not what you think you should be delivering or what you think you should put out there. What is the world consistently asking of you? And when I looked at my DMs and the conversations that I was having with people and all of that stuff, it was largely around how to captivate audiences and how to put what anybody's unique ability is into the world. And so I just sat down. I got with a bunch of different mentors, and I was like, look, I want to build a business around this thing, and here's what I'm thinking. Here's where my brain is going. Right, here's what I've done. Here's the mistakes that I've had. Blah blah blah. And you get with the right mentors, and people think that they're supposed to tell you what to do, and really it's them asking you the questions that you've never thought to ask yourself. Like when I had the loft and I had a mentor, he said to me, he was like, first question, he said, well, what's the one thing that could like kill your business right now? And I was like, a fire. I could lose all the equipment, right? And we're on Zoom like this, and he's looking at me, and I'm giving him a bunch of answers, and he's just like, oh, I don't know. That's not my business. But the fact that you don't know means that it could be coming around the corner. And when I had that shift, that brain shift moment, I was like, mentorship is one of the biggest things that I can get because it helps me unlock things faster. I don't have to run into the wall. And so it was a combination of like, what does the world want from me? I think I have this thing. Let me go get beat up mentally by some mentors who tell me this is good, this is great, this is why you would fail, this is where your ceiling would be. That was another thing, was people were like, yeah, this is cool, but you're back to now trading your time, right? Be conscious of that. Like, be conscious of the fact that this is going to cost you your time. And so when I put all of those things together, I got a lot of questions to ask myself, and they gave me the frameworks to build this thing that now is, it's still boutique, right? We've got a team of 8, but we've been working with some of the top companies and entrepreneurs in the world. I'm traveling next week to Dallas to go to some vid summit thing. I've gotten invited to do all types of stuff that I now know for a fact that I'm aligned. I'm in the right place. But I think that the best thing for me is, like, I give myself the permission to rebuild whenever I need to, right? I started off being like, yeah, I'm going to work with like recording artists because I was a DJ and I had the studio and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, well, that's stupid. We're not going to do that, right? Because most of them don't have the budget. Most of them are just like not super passionate. They just do music as a hobby. And so I did have to rebuild consistently to get here. But I think the biggest takeaway for most people is like giving yourself the permission to do it wrong until you get it right. I think a lot of people oftentimes say that they want a process, and what you're really looking for is permission to do it wrong until you can get it right. And so for me, yeah, I spoke to some mentors, but they didn't give me a process. They just asked me the right questions for me to open my mind and say, hey, this is what this might look like. But the way that I structured it was really just about giving myself the permission to be like, okay, here's what I think. Here's who I'm working with. Here's this, here's that. Nope, not going to do that. Okay, and keep going. It's an incremental thing, right? You don't build a business, a $1 million business in one day. You do it over time and by surviving all of your mistakes. And so that's been my process, to be honest with you. I can't hear you, brother.
I said, now you tell me. when I started, man,
Yeah.
I was watching the Secret, and getting into metaphysics, and you just have to want it. And yeah, there's a huge psychological component to it for sure. Mindset plays a huge role. You got to believe that you deserve it, that you're capable of getting it and stuff. But what you said is extremely profound, especially to somebody that's just getting started, is that it's not about making $1 million in a day, right? It's about learning and getting data points so that you can kind of carve a path for yourself, so you can have a system. It's not about habits as much as it's about systems. It's not about affirmations as it is much about action. Now, if the affirmations get you to action, then great. Whatever you need to do, you need to act and mess some shit up so hey, that ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. This might be it. No, that ain't it. And then eventually you find that path. So persistence is paramount. And I don't think that a lot of people, well, I'll speak for myself. I don't think a lot of people, but I'll speak for myself, realize that is the game, that it's mistake to mistake to mistake to mistake. So tell me what it's like, right? So a lot of people come to you. Who's the ideal client for you? Like, who can get the most out of working with you?
So I'll say this, right? In terms of ICP, it changes because it's largely about where I'm at in
ICP,
terms of ideal customer profile.
okay.
Right. Who's the the person that's going to get the most from working with me? It right now is entrepreneurs who are already pretty much known for doing something, and they want to build a bigger digital presence. Oftentimes people come to me because they're looking to do a launch, right? Maybe you've already got a product and you had a little bit of success, but you're looking to do a launch of a new product, and you want the creative structure as well as understanding the platform mechanics. I think that that's really what I deliver, is a large amount of creativity mixed in with the platform mechanics. So I understand human psychology, right? Like I had a post that's going viral right now, and I made people think that their phone was dying, right? Like the low battery signal popped up, and everybody in the comment section was like, dude, my phone was on the charger and I still hit the button, and like all of these things. And so
thanks for that.
I think you did comment on that. That's right.
That was fun for me.
And so right? My ability to understand both humans and people and what's going to make them move, tick, dance, whatever, versus understanding the platform and how that actually works, how distribution happens, what are the virtue signals that the platform wants, etc. Those are the two things that I combine. And so it really could be just about anybody. However, right now I'm largely focused on entrepreneurs who are looking to become more of an authority in the space, right?
Mhm.
Either they want to start speaking more, or one of my clients right now, she's writing a book, and so our goal is to use this thing to get it on the New York Times bestsellers. And so largely it is entrepreneurs, but I also do a large amount of work for companies and brands that are basically in the CPG space, right? Consumer packaged goods. So like dog food companies, coffee companies, mushroom coffee companies. And so it's really anybody who's looking for either the creative direction or the platform mechanics. But for me, it's largely about me being excited about the thing. We don't take on anybody because I've learned that some clients can drain you. And even though they're paying you, your energy is worth more than that money. Because, I had a client that was paying me over 15 grand per month, right? And most people would be like, that's amazing. I only need that one client. But what they were costing me, right? People don't think about opportunity costs in terms of entrepreneurship, because now I couldn't produce my own content. I couldn't show up the way I needed to for my team. I couldn't show up the way I needed to in my relationship. And so it cost me so much that it was like, this is not working, right? This relationship just isn't it. And so I learned that early on, that like, if I'm not fired up about it, I'm not taking it on. My client who's writing a book, she tells everybody still, she's like, yeah, he wasn't going to take me on as a client. Like he told me that in a meeting. And I did. I told her, I was like, I don't think that this is going to be it. I told her I would think on it. And if it fired me up, then I would take her on. And so I'm very, very selective. And I think that that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, is that you're trading that security, right? Of like someone paying you for something, but then you get to be in control and choose the things that you do. And if you're wise enough to do it, not solely based on excitement, but be led by how you feel about it, I think that you'll never go wrong, and you'll never feel like you're working. And that's the most important thing for me.
Man, that's fire. You just said so many different things. One thing that's really attractive is being selective, right? Because and there's a lot of people listening right now that have a lot of support, help, and leadership, and all different things on their heart that they want to share with everybody. And the problem is that they want to share it with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And what they don't realize, and what I'm picking up from what you're saying, is that if you try to serve everybody, you end up serving nobody,
Mm-hmm.
right? That when somebody, even if they're compensating you financially, may drain you energetically, right? Which shut down the whole, mechanism. Because if you don't have your mind, if you don't have, your autonomy, then you can't even provide the best service that you want to that person, right? So it's kind of that's a mindset shift right there that people need to take, that if you resist it, if what you resist will persist, right? And if you lean into it and disqualify some people,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have a much better time.
Yeah.
So
Again, right? Mentorship.
mhm,
Something that he said was, you need to learn the power of no.
mhm,
And that really shook me to my core, because I realized that, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs will go through this in the early phase. You're like, man, I need all the money I can get, so I don't
right,
care if a rock could hire me, right? And I can
right,
make you. I will work for anybody who's paying.
yeah,
And I went through that,
yeah,
and
that gets
when I
old
learned the power,
fast.
yeah, yeah, and when I learned the power of no, it allowed me to really find alignment,
Mhm,
right? And that became the thing of like, if I'm aligned with everybody that I work with, right? Like
mhm,
everybody, all of my clients now, we text each other. It's not formal emails, and it's a very much, hey, I'm with you. I'm here to work with. I'm going to assist you. Hit me, whatever. Like it's a very personal relationship, because it's a personal brand that we're building, and
mhm.
so I have to have the space to be able to want to do those things and communicate with you at whatever time and all of this stuff. And so, yeah, I have to be very, very selective, because again, opportunity costs. And so I completely agree with that.
Right. So there's somebody listening right now that absolutely needs what you have to offer,
Yeah,
right? How does that person go about contacting you and maybe exploring if she's a good fit or if he's a good fit?
they don't. If you need what I have to offer, then the number one thing that you need to do is go see everything that I've offered. Right? I created the blueprint. I'm giving away all of the recipes. Right? That's the thing. Is like Gordon Ramsay wrote a book with all of his recipes in it. He's still Gordon Ramsay though, right?
Hmm.
And so that's I attenuate what I do very much to like the kitchen. So
Hmm.
you can have the recipe, you can have all of the ingredients. You may not necessarily cook it the way that I do. And
Hmm.
so if you think that you need me, the first thing that you should go do is see everything that I have to offer, because if you've not done or exhausted all of the tips, the tricks, the hacks that I've given you, then you probably don't need to even be interested in hiring me. You
Hmm.
probably need to continue to go collect more data about what works for you and your audience, right? People weren't privy to this, but off camera, you and I were having a conversation about your productivity and what you're doing and how you're taking the data and doing all of these things. And I said, right, we've seen each other through multiple lifetimes, right? Like
Hmm.
I remember you, right?
Oh
The T
Lord.
Spice that was early on with the ideas and trying to produce and showing up and versus you now.
Hmm.
It's a very different. You sat in to your space and you deliver now from a space of like it's about the consistency. It's about giving my audience what I know that they want, as opposed to me trying to come up here and like dance and sing and do the
Yeah.
trend and do the this and that. No, no, I'm going to give you guys, and you guys will what's the saying? Eat the fish and leave the bones,
Right.
right? And so I think that a lot of people, again, a lot of people think that they want to process, and really what you need is permission,
Hmm.
right? So most people that think that they need me, like if you haven't produced at least 150 videos, if you haven't been doing this thing for a year, 2 years, to be honest, I should say 1,000. Like that
Hmm.
should be my threshold, right? Like if you don't have the chops, because the one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to motivate you. Like I'm not going to motivate you. That's just
Hmm.
so there's a book by Aaron McManus, and it talks about the 7 frequencies of communication, and
Hmm.
one of them is the motivator. And when I first started making content, I was trying to show up as the motivator, and I thought that that was what people wanted. And then I started getting clients who were like, "Yeah, but you know, my eyebrow doesn't sit in the same realm as this eyebrow. How?" And I'm like, "I can't help you with that. Like I'm here to make your content look good. I'm here to help you produce. I'm here to. I can't deal with you and your insecure. That's not."
Right.
And
Right.
so I had to really realize that, like, okay, number one, I have to show up the right way. But then number two, most people don't need everything that I have to offer. You don't need, you haven't exhausted your own creativity yet
Hmm.
before you can come and try to let me add on to that. Right. And so that then becomes like the bottleneck for people when they do try to work with me, where I'm like, okay, so what have you done? What do you know that works? What do you know that doesn't work?
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, I don't know. I've got nothing for it. Okay, I can't help.
Right.
Right. So it's really
Yep.
about qualifying yourself first.
You can't improve what you don't measure. Right.
Amen.
Yes, indeed. So so I have a link for you in the description.
Yep.
Tell me about what happens when someone clicks on that link.
Ha! They'll if they do try to get a meeting, they'll be added to a wait list right now.
Yes, indeed.
I'm at a space right now. We've got about a month or 2 month wait list for people, for clients. So what used to happen is you would go to that link and you'd be able to get a quick meeting with me for me to assess the brand and assess all of these things. Right now, the only service that I am offering, and that's probably going to go away in a few, is one-on-one paid calls, where it's like a 90-minute thing, and I will kind of answer all of the questions that you have, or I will take a look at your brand and tell you, if I were you, here's where I would pivot, or here's where you could be stronger, or this, that, or the third. But um, again, even with those, there are certain people who I've given them their money. I've people have paid and I've given them their money back, because I'm like, you're not going to get enough from this because you haven't done enough
Hmm.
for me to tell you, right? You're still a blank slate.
Right.
So come to me when you're like, I've tried it all. I've tried this, I've
Mhm.
tried that, I've tried this, I've tried that. This way I can tell you, okay, look, here's the pivot, here's the shift, here's
Mhm.
the thing that you are not doing. Here, a perfect example. When I tell people it's such a subtle shift, I have a video that at the time did phenomenal numbers. I think it's like 500,000 views.
Mhm.
And all I said in the beginning was, your goals are keeping you poor. And when people saw that, they stopped and was like, what? How is that possible?
Mhm.
And the entire summary of that video was me saying, set bigger goals
Mhm.
because of who it will force you to become to grow into that person. I could have started the video by saying, you should set bigger goals, but it would have been swiped.
Right.
But when I switched it, the reframe, right? When I use loss aversion, negativity bias, those are psychological hacks that make people say, what do you, whoa, I have goals. How
Mhm.
is it that that's keeping me, like, I'm going to sit around for this thing?
Mhm.
That subtle shift in the way that I could have delivered it versus the way that I did, right? That's the unlock oftentimes that I will give to people. It's like, hey, the way that you're showing up, number one, is the wrong communication frequency. That's not you,
Mhm.
right? And it's the funniest thing is people try to build a personal brand by being someone else. It don't even make sense. that don't even make sense, right?
It's somebody else's person.
Correct. Right. And so if you haven't done enough to define yourself, I can't help you be a better you if you're being someone else.
Mhm.
And so oftentimes for me, it's like I can give you the shift, but I have to know you. I have to know where you are because, again, I'm not going to motivate you, but I can definitely tell you, hey, when you jumped on camera and you said it like this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make that same video, but I want you to say it like this and
Mhm.
then give them this, that, or the third. And
Mhm.
the amount of times that I'll give people that unlock. So I'll say this, the people who book calls with me and I allow them to book, they will rebook and rebook because they're like, okay, cool. I got this tool from you. I'm going to go and out into the world. I'm going to do this and it's working and I love it. And I've had some success and blah, blah, blah. Now I've hit another glass ceiling,
Mm.
right? Those are the people that I enjoy working with because you've got the chops in, you've done the thing, you've tried it, and I can give you that shift that's like, okay, cool. Now I know what's missing. Now I know to add some paprika or lemon pepper into the thing, and now it tastes amazing. And
Mhm.
so, for most people, again, if you don't have the chops, if you haven't tried enough, please don't come here thinking that I'm going to motivate you to be better because my specificity is finding what's missing and being able to add that extra sauce or seasoning onto that that
Mm.
makes other people want it.
Yes, indeed. So tell me a little bit about what happens on the back end of someone who is privileged enough to
Mhm.
have qualified to work with you, right?
So I'll tell you
I
the
know a
process.
transformation happens. Tell me a little bit about that.
So again, the process is the first thing that we do is we establish what your communication frequency is,
Mhm.
right? So I'll sit with you and I will ask you a bunch of different questions about just everything about the way in which you want to show up, who you listen to, who you follow, et cetera. Excuse me. Pardon me, I'm just getting over a cold.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, who do you listen to? How do you want to show up? And we will determine your communication frequency.
Mhm.
Once we do that, then we start to develop what your cadence will look like, right? How often are you shooting? How often are you showing up? After that, we do your content calendar. And what everybody thinks the content calendar is like, oh, you're going to post on Monday, Tuesday, Friday. But no, my saying is audience over algorithm. And so what that translates to is who is it that your audience is currently consuming? And when I say who is it, I mean the entirety. What is it that they're already watching? What do
Mhm.
we know about them so that we can enter the zeitgeist of their content consumption? Perfect example. I'm still working with a recording studio, and we know that majority of their audience is men. majority of their audience like sports. So we go a little bit deeper. What specifically? Basketball. Bet. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's do a carousel of rappers as athletes.
Hmm.
And so we did um, Kevin Durant would be DMX because they both bark at you, and Jay-Z would be right. Like we compared all of the players. Jay-Z would be LeBron because this, that, or the third. Kobe would be Lil Wayne, and blah, blah, like all of these things, and performed phenomenally because people get to argue underneath it.
Hmm.
People are like, no, 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 this is wrong. This is that, da, da, da. But what we did, we showed up at a time when the audience was already watching basketball. We
Hmm.
were watching the NBA finals. We were looking at these things. So now I want to have this conversation. And so when we create your content calendar, it is like, what is your audience already going to be consuming? What is the content that we should create that's already in that zeitgeist? So this way we don't have to try to worry about what we're posting when. If we know March Madness is happening, cool. Let's make some content for that now, and then we can then post that then. And so that's the next layer is like we go through what your content calendar would actually look like, and then after that we start to really get into the weeds and the nitty gritty of
Yes, indeed. Sorry about that. My my baby is fussing
it.
now,
Hey, yeah,
but I
again, right? A
yeah,
different lifetime, right? You are a dad now, so
yeah,
it was a
super dad
completely
mode.
completely, and it's so funny too because when we spoke about your change in the way in which you deliver, and I said you seem like you're sat in, what that actually translates to is patience. I feel like prior to, you were trying so hard to do the thing, and I think now you operate in a space of patience. And I know that that has only come from having a child
Experience.
because
Yeah,
I have a parent who's a child. So
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I actually wanted to touch on that too because, yeah, the longer that you're in it, and the moment you realize that you're not gonna make $1 million overnight, then But here's the thing: I find it interesting because it kind of has its place in the process, right? Up front, you're doing everything, seeing what sticks up against the wall, right? Because you think that you're gonna get this payout, and your life is gonna be different forever because you figured it out and nobody else knows the secret. So I'm just gonna do the thing and do the thing. And no, it doesn't work like that. But also, it gets you motivated enough to take enough action so that you learn that one, it doesn't work like that, and two,
mm,
how might it actually work, right? And then when it comes to having children, yeah, it's it's a really big mirror for me because where I thought that my temperament was one thing, my patience was somewhere. It takes a child that doesn't know anything to make you pay attention to the lessons that you thought you already knew.
yeah,
And it's like, I already been here. Why am I here? And then you get frustrated. And then now you have to be so patient to the point where your business could literally start from scratch
mm,
if it needed to. Or
mm,
like how you were talking about earlier, making pivots are hard, and especially when the pivot that you make has nothing to do with what you've been invested in initially. It takes a tremendous amount of oversight, patience, and faith, all these different things. But when you know what's right, when you know what's true, you can stay committed to it long enough to see it,
yeah,
see the fruit come to fruition. So it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's very fundamental ideas that I think people need to adopt that will kind of take them through the process where they can try one strategy and fail, and then come try another strategy and fail, and then finally qualify for your support, and then maybe fail a little bit. Maybe they become the president, after working with you. I'm sure that it's worth it because I am better and more knowledgeable for having had this discussion and following you on TikTok. We will drop your name in the description so that
definitely.
anybody can follow along too. And I hope everybody's life is changed for having listened to this podcast. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one more question, right? And I would pick your brain for the next 5 hours if I could, but I know you got a life and stuff. What is one thing that somebody who has been putting in the work, right, might be running out of gas, but doesn't want to give up, feels a huge threat to their identity if they gave up on this project? That's how passionate they are. What's
Mhm.
one thing that they can do right now to live a little bit more by design instead of by default?
I think that the first thing that I get people to do, and it's so funny, man. I mean, I work, some of my clients have money, the money numbers that I've been like, okay, right? Like one of my clients just told me what they have to pay in taxes, and it was like, I'd be happy to have that in my bank account. So,
Yeah.
right, and they still go through this thing, this moment of like, the parameter by which they judge success is so interesting to me. And I think that anybody who's feeling a moment of like, I've been bumping my head on this thing and I'm not getting to where I want to go, I would tell you to make sure that your parameter is correct. Because oftentimes we use the parameter of success that is ego driven. I haven't gone viral. I don't have the
Mhm.
numbers. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. People aren't saying this thing. And I always ask, well, why did you start this? Like, well, I started because I wanted people to know this. And I stop them right there. Stop. I don't, full stop. I started this because I wanted people to know whatever it is. Are you still committed to that mission?
Mhm.
Are you still delivering something, putting something into the ethos where people can gain value? Because if that's what your mission is, and that is what you are doing, and you feel like you're not having success because you don't have the tangible results, you have the wrong parameter. Because
Mhm.
the amount of times, perfect example, and I'm so glad that you brought up TikTok, because that needs to be studied. The amount of times that TikTok has resurfaced a song from 2006 that did not have the success that it's having and it gonna have in 2026
Mhm.
is immaculately insane. That concept that, hey, I can put something into the world right now and zero people may see it, but it'll live forever. And now all of a sudden 1 billion people
Yeah.
need it for whatever thing they want to clip it or chop it or do this or what. If you are still delivering, be happy with your delivery. The pizza man don't show up to your house and be like, "Was the pizza good?"
Yeah.
No, he delivered.
Yeah.
That was his own, like the sole mission. Did I
Mhm.
deliver?
Mhm.
Cool. That's it. And I think that we largely as a society have become enamored by what we think is actual quantifiable results, and
Mhm.
they aren't. Like I've had to tell so many clients that, like, because they'll be like, oh man, people are hating on me, and I'm like, those are bots. I can build them. I can actually build bots that'll argue back with those bots if you'd like.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that.
So like your measurement of what the value of something actually is
Mhm.
largely based on your interpretation of the thing because of your personal experience. But
Mhm.
again, if your mission is solid, if your mission is, I'm creating content because I want people to have education, I want people to have entertainment, I want
Mhm.
people to feel this, then put it out there. Give yourself the permission to put it out there and allow it to live forever, because there's no telling what the timing will actually be.
Mhm.
And so it's largely a mindset shift for most people that's like, do the thing, right? Close the app. There
Right.
was a moment where Instagram, they well, Meta more so, they wanted to eliminate the like counter, and they tried it in the EU and they tried it, I think, in Australia. And when they mentioned it in the US, it was an uproar. People were like, no, why would you do that? Da, da. And I was like, that would be the most amazing thing that
Mhm.
can happen to our society and our social media landscape.
Mhm.
because then I get to just produce without the pressure and the judgment of whether or not it was good.
Mhm.
Did I put something out today that I this is how I tell people to look at, yo, back in the day, if you were if you wanted to have your picture taken, you had to be royalty because they had to
Mhm.
pay it, right? Now I can put out so much stuff into the world that my grandkids
Mhm.
can know who I am and what I was about. My content is about legacy. I'm putting stuff out so that my family can look back and be like, yeah, like when my grandson's grandson has to do a book report on me, well, go pull up my whole thing. I don't care how many views it got. Look at what I was talking about. Did my family get something from that? Are you learn did you feel better because I made this thing that told you you were capable? Did you? That's
Mhm.
my whole mission. And I think that that's where people need to be, because when you deliver from there, the success comes by accident, right? That's why I said, like, now I'm in a space where I'm like, hey, I appreciate the plug. I'm not taking on clients right now. There's a 2 month wait list. You sign up, it's going to be about a month before I can work with you, right? Because my mission is bigger than likes, views, and like, like it's a bigger thing for me. And so I would tell people, man, fall in love with the process, not the
Right.
result. And
Man, another one of those. Now you tell me. I'm so mad that it took me so long to learn that. Like I'm so obsessed. Oh, I've been, over the past couple of years, I've been running my business, obsessed with the vanity metrics,
mm,
the likes, the comments, the this and that, and all this
yeah,
other stuff, and switching to just consistency. How many videos did you post today? Completely different. And another thing about the legacy, because I'm definitely driven by that, immensely. But another funny thing that happens that I didn't expect to happen was I end up re-inspiring myself from videos I made 5 years ago. Like, damn, old me, like why you coming for my neck right now? And that's another really funny thing that
this happened to me
happens.
the other day. That's
Yeah.
literally what happened to me the other day. Somebody sent me a video, an old video. I was like, whoa. Right? And I looked at it and I watched it and I was like, "Hmm, I'm I'm kind of I'm kind of talking to myself right now. I think I need to
Right.
go. I need to let me rewatch this a couple more times because I was right and I've kind of lost that mentality. Cool.
Man,
And that's
yeah.
the whole purpose of it. We've never lived in a time where you could put a message into the world and have it live forever. Choose your message. Choose your message and continue to deliver. I don't give a damn who likes it and who don't and what the comments is. This is from me to you. If you never open it, that's okay. That's fine. I delivered, like the pizza analogy again. And so I completely agree, brother. Completely agree. I'm
Yes,
sorry that took
indeed.
so long for me to tell you this.
No, yeah, man. Where you were? Where was you at?
Probably, man.
Golly, you need to hop in that time machine. Could have saved me
Facts,
some time. I know
facts.
that this conversation has been the fast track for a couple of people. I've definitely fast tracked some of the things that I was thinking about. I do thank you and appreciate you
Yeah,
for
man.
spending this time with us.
Definitely.
And as always, to everybody listening, love, be well, and don't forget to have the guts to follow your guts.